Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Sydney and this is Little Sitter here, and he's as usual hanging out, chilling out. And over here we have Little Hamilton, aka Hanny. We like to call him Hanny for short. You guys want to have a treat? Break it in half. Ooh, ooh. Here you go, baby. Good boys. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about scooting and what you can do to try to avoid it or try to solve it. Just so you guys know, I'm not a vet and I'm not an expert. I'm just speaking from my own experiences as well as research, what I've learned from vets and so forth. So what is scooting? Scooting is when your dog drags their bottom across the floor, and it's a common behavior to possibly indicate that your dog has an anal sac issue. Anal sacs can become clogged or injured for a variety of reasons. However, it's really important that you visit your vet to make sure that scooting isn't linked to something more serious, such as parasites, allergies, or so forth. When you take your dog to the vet for a scooting issue, most likely the vet is going to manually express the dog's glands. They push it like a certain way to empty both of the sacs. I don't know how to do it, just in case you're wondering. But some groomers know how to manually express your dog's glands. However, I recommend just having a vet do it instead of a groomer, unless you absolutely trust your groomer. Just because it could lead to an issue if your groomer doesn't do it correctly. I'm not trying to hate on groomers or anything like that. It's just less room for error if you have your vet do it, who's licensed in doing it. Now, if you're feeding your dog a good quality diet, whether if it's raw or if it's kibble, and your dog's stool is still loose, there's a possibility that they're not getting enough fiber in their diet. Now, again, to determine if this is what your dog is going through, I highly recommend seeing your trusted vet to see if there is any other issues going on with your dog that's linked to the scooting. However, in this video, I'm just going to be talking about if the cause is insufficient fiber in your dog's diet and how to incorporate fiber into your dog's diet to make those stools more bulkier. You don't want your dog to have diarrhea, because having it chronically can lead to your dogs having really clogged glands because they're not pushing out everything, and that can lead to the glands rupturing. And trust me, you do not want to deal with a ruptured gland. I have unfortunately dealt with this. It's not pretty. It's very, very ugly. You do not want to deal with it. So bulking up your dog's poop with some fiber will help push everything out and emptying out the glands naturally, which is what you want. So I have a couple of items here that I want to go over with you guys to help you incorporate some fiber in your dog's diets to help with that scooting, bulking up the poops, and so forth. So the first item that I want to talk about is pumpkin. Make sure it's 100% pumpkin and it's not pumpkin puree or any of that. 100% pumpkin. I like to make sure it's organic, just, I guess it's better. I like to add a tablespoon in their food in the mornings if I notice that their stool is a little loose. But pumpkin is really, really helpful. It's totally safe for dogs. Dogs love it typically, and a lot of people will recommend pumpkin as your first go-to if your dog is having insufficient fiber in their diets. So the next ingredient that I want to talk about is this Husk Powder. I think it's called Phyllicillum Husk Powder. Listen, I can't pronounce it. Make fun of me all you want, but I always have a hard time pronouncing this word. But a lot of people highly recommend giving this Husk Powder to your dogs because it will definitely bulk up their poops. However, you really want to be careful when you use this because this thing is packed with fiber. I personally prefer the pumpkin over this, but some people swear by this. I learned about this in my dog group. But some dogs don't necessarily like the Husk Powder because of how you're supposed to feed it to your dog. And how you're supposed to feed it is that I think you take a half a teaspoon and put it in a bowl, add a little bit of water, and you stir it until it's a gel-like consistency, and you put it over top of your dog's food. However, you have to feed it to your dog quick because the jelly-like consistency will harden up, and some dogs are turned off by it, especially if your dog's a picky eater. So this is an option. It's not my #1 favorite, but some people swear by this for their dogs. Also, I highly recommend checking with your vet to see if this is a good alternative for you, because since it is packed with so much fiber, it could be too much fiber for your dog. I highly recommend checking this out with your vet and doing some research to see if this Husk Powder is good for you. So the next thing I want to talk about is Glandex. So this is a anal gland support powder. It's vegan salmon flavored, which is not vegan if it's salmon flavored, but anyway, but this is for anal gland health. Yeah, so I've used this before. I've had a good experience with Glandex. They also have like the chewable tablets that you can give your dogs, but I personally don't like giving the chewable ones because the very first ingredient is canola oil, which I think is kind of strange. Maybe it's, I don't know why the first ingredient is canola oil for the tablets. So I try to steer away from those. But this one, the first ingredient is pumpkin seed powder. So that's good. But yeah, I highly recommend the powder over the tablets just because the powder has better ingredients, and for some reason the tablets don't. I mean, it's not that canola oil is a bad ingredient for your dog. It's just like, it's canola oil. It's like weird for it to be the very first ingredient. So yeah, I highly recommend the Glandex powder. Checking that out and seeing if that's a good option for you. And the last thing I want to recommend are these bite-sized wheat squares. So what I like about these is that you can actually feed it to your dog as a treat. I would maybe give like 4 to 5 of them on the day that I notice that their stool is a little loose. They're low in calorie and it's an excellent source of fiber. Just make sure you get a brand that doesn't have any additives in it. This is actually a cereal. I get it from Amazon Fresh, but it's the Whole Foods brand, the 365 Whole Foods Market brand. But yeah, my breeder actually recommend me giving a few of these to my dogs, and it'll definitely help bulk up the poops. But my dogs love these. Highly recommend it. So I would probably say like my 2 favorite things to give my dogs out of like everything that I just showed you is just the pumpkin and the wheat squares are definitely my favorite. The Husk Powder, I don't like the fact that you have to like wet it and gel it and feed it to your dog real quick. And Glandex is good. Well, the powder is good, but I don't like the tablets because of like first ingredient being canola oil. Those are just a few things that I like to incorporate in my dog's diets if they are scooting or having fiber issues. The number one thing I highly recommend you guys doing is just going to your vet and seeing if there's any other issues linked to the scooting, because that's going to be your number one resource for sure. But it doesn't hurt to try, you know, a little bit of pumpkin or some wheat squares to see if it, you know, solves the issue. I guess that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you will subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, because that will definitely help out my channel in the long run. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, you guys.